Hello and welcome to episode 2 of a Orna overview and let's play. We'll pick up where we left off last episode. Last episode we have killed a few things in our local area, really shown some people who's boss, and now we are looking to really upgrade the gear that we're wearing in order to take on some more things, as well as get our level up above something like level 3 so we can start taking on some serious opponents and maybe even some other players in this episode. But for now, you'll notice that the spawn has changed a little bit in the way that we have a few different monsters have appeared, as well as a shrine. That shrine up north, if I click it, will tell me that I have found a Shrine of Luck, and with this blessing I'll receive more orns and more gold. It'll actually last for an hour and a half, which is very nice. You'll be able to see these buffs rolling in our buff screen here, and if you click them you'll get lots of information about what they do. But adding these up over time will really allow us to get a lot more experience and really level up our character a lot. You'll notice me going through a lot of battles as we talk about things here. That's simply because there are quite a battles in between us and where we want to be in terms of experience. With Orna being an RPG, part of the experience is obviously going to be a little bit of a grind. But if we play smart and if we use our items to the best advantage that we have, we'll really notice that our level will shoot up a bit faster than it would just attacking random things and not having a plan. So we've already reached level 4 here. Level 4 doesn't really mean too much. The current level cap in this game is level 250. And as we go through levels, you'll probably notice that we will slow down very slightly with each level as one includes a bit more experience to get to the next one than the last one did. It's a pretty standard experience table for this game. You can actually find it at orna.guide. But compared to some of the other leveling-based RPGs that I've seen, it's a pretty forgiving curve. It provides a lot of rewards and changes over the course of leveling, so nothing's going to feel too stagnant. One of the things you will hear a lot of players of the game talk about is simply that there is a wall every 25 levels that you will hit, and you will definitely feel the impact of that wall on your play. Enemies will get a lot harder, your gear will suddenly become a lot less sufficient for getting you through longer battles without healing up, and you'll also notice some of your attacks becoming, if not ineffective, completely damage free. So some of the status effects like freeze and bleed may be applied, but you're not going to see any damage coming from those attacks, which will make it very hard to contribute to those fights until you can really find a way to upgrade or level up your gear. At level 5, we learn the skill Slash. Slash is a lot more useful, in my opinion, than the other skill called Guts. Guts, to me, is a fight ender, just in case you know you're going to die the next turn. But Slash will apply the bleed effect that we're looking to really abuse in the Thief character and keep as a pretty much constant status modifier to all the things that we're fighting. 3 quick attacks on this goblin hopefully will get us there, but 1 extra HP point turns it into 4. You'll notice that drop was actually goblin armor. Anytime we're fighting a rogue character, there's a chance they're going to drop something that we're going to want to wear. And this is our first real upgrade of the playthrough. This goblin armor will allow us to bump all 3 of the stats that we really care about, defense, resistance, and dexterity, and is really going to boost things as we're going through not only the fights, but later on the raids that we're going to be trying to join in on. So let's see if we can clear the screen a little bit of some of these lower level things. After we do a few of these attacks, these will be some of the last level 1 through 5 things that you'll see spawning on the screen as we go through the levels quite quickly here at the beginning. The monsters in our local area will be nice enough to start leveling themselves up as well, so that we're not trapped just getting 1 XP per kill the way you would in a game like World of Warcraft if you just stayed in the starting area. It's a bit of an interesting decision to structure the game in a way that you can do the main gameplay loop from your home without necessarily needing to change locations. In previous games that I've played, specifically Ingress, it becomes very important that you be moving around, and a lot of the stats in that game are based on how far you are willing to go from your initial location in terms of making very large fields, things like that. Orna more wants to reward you for visiting different and unique places around you, but doesn't necessarily reward you for traveling any further than really 25 or 30 miles. There are a certain amount of areas that you can hold influence over, and I don't imagine you'd be able to get very far without hitting that cap. But we will see as we move around and play more what the options for control are. Obviously, we won't be controlling very much with Gurpgorked here until we can really get him leveled up to the point where we can challenge that first level 50 demon. Now, you'll see that bleeding effect being traded back and forth between both my character and the characters that I'm fighting against. That simply means that we are putting a status over time effect on each other. Those kinds of effects are essentially the bread and butter of debuff characters, and we're really going to be looking to add a lot of debuffs to the mobs that we're fighting, as well as buff ourselves quite a bit so that we can make it through things like the Gauntlet, which present very high level enemies one after another in order to really give players a really serious challenge. So another quest or achievement that we've gotten through here, we've managed to slay the second set of monsters to earn ourselves 50 Orns. And Orns are going to be important as we go to look to see about upgrading our class. They're the main expenditure of Orns in the game is to upgrade your class. The next one that we'll be going for is still going to be Rogue based. It's actually called Rogue. The required class for this obviously is Thief, and we have to be at level 25. But by level 25, we also need to have 10,000 Orns. And if you'll notice from my count in the upper right, 358. It's a pretty slow flow of those of that currency, but there are ways that we can find, namely under the status menu, you'll find achievements in the game. There are ways we can find to boost our Orns. Not only upgrading items at the blacksmith can give us back 500 Orns, but some of these rewards will go up and up and up. So the one for reaching level 10 obviously is only 20 Orns, but the one for reaching a level 100 might be 5,000. So what we've got our Lucky Shrine going on, boosting our gold and our Orns. We might ask if there are other ways that we can boost the things that we're getting. Currently all we have is the torch. The torch will allow us to see at night, which night begins at 8 p.m. in this game. But also will attract more monsters to our location in the same way that light tends to attract living things. We'll go ahead and knock out a few more of these low-level things to see if we can get to level 10 here. Level 10, a few things will change for us in terms of having some more options on not only skills, but in the things that we can engage in with gameplay itself. There is the arena to explore. Arena presents you... For one ticket for one fight, you can essentially be paired with another player that is similar to your skill set and your current level. Well, maybe not your skill set. And you will see if you can use that skill set in order to overcome that player. Here's our first famed piece of gear. It's exciting that it is a dagger that we can use, as well as some armor in the same drop. So, like any RPG with a loot table, sometimes the loot is kind and sometimes the loot is not. This is a very kind drop for us right now, so we'll go ahead and we'll augment what we are wearing to include that. You'll notice that famed dagger raises our attack by 4, but even more so the bow raises our attack by 6. So even though that dagger is famed, it looks real cool. We're going to go ahead and equip the bow for now. We don't have any accessories yet, but we do have boots of the goblin that we can put on, as well as that superior armor, and a hood. So we are fully decked out outside of accessories, which we'll be able to grab from a store as we move around, if not from a few of these mob drops. But we've already made it to level 7, and that gear change, you'll notice, has quite a bit of an effect on our attack. Here's us hitting a Cobra for 24 points of damage. So we should be able to really churn through a lot of these enemies quite quickly in terms of how much damage we're able to put down. So you'll see here we're actually up against a Fallen Thief. Any of the Fallen characters are going to be a little bit stronger here in the beginning than their normal counterparts. He's also a pretty high level, so you'll notice some or all of my attacks are missing quite frequently. His are also having very little effect because of the gear boost that I just went through. So really, we're just going to trade back and forth attacks here. This is going to look like one of those fights that goes into the 9th round simply because we are wearing each other down. But even blind and poisoned, Gurpgorked the Thief here is able to juggle his daggers back and forth and put one finally in the back of this Fallen Thief. We're going to be rewarded for that with not only a new dagger, but really a new set of armor entirely. Like I mentioned, those Fallen Thieves really like to drop all of the gear that they're wearing. That hard leather armor is still not better than our goblin armor, but that dagger, obviously, our first tier 2 piece of gear, and it being a weapon is just very, very useful. We'll go ahead and equip that now. No more accessories yet. But now that we have a good first weapon, I think one of the best ways to celebrate that is a trip to your local blacksmith. An interesting tip that I've realized as playing Orna is that you are able to interact with basically anything that appears on your screen, but what appears on your screen will be dependent, of course, on your screen size. And the iPad that I'm using to tape this series is in landscape mode, which means I can see quite a bit outside of my normal field of influence. And on the bottom left of the map, you'll see a blacksmith that's just barely in view. I am able to get to that as I drift over there with my GPS from things like my phone, but on this device it's a lot easier to click and get to. I am going to go ahead and visit that blacksmith now. This is known as Cunningham Loaf Blacksmith. I like to think that's his actual name. But we'll need a little bit more iron in order to upgrade our gold, or in order to upgrade our Fallen Thief's dagger for 563 gold. Our superior goblin armor, though, will take an hour, and we have the 3 leather, the 100 orns, and the 69 gold in order to upgrade that. We could go ahead and put that on there, but simply because it's still tier 1 armor, I'm going to go ahead and pass on that for now. So we'll keep an eye out for our 3 iron required to see if we can upgrade that dagger. Sometimes it's as easy as looking through the drops that you already have to see what gets dropped from them as you dismantle them. So as we dismantle these 4 things, we'll actually receive 3 iron from that process, which means to end our video and celebrate here, we can go ahead and drop our Fallen Thief's dagger off at the blacksmith. That'll be unavailable for an hour, so we'll go ahead and let that cook. Thank you, Cunningham Loaf, for doing a bit of blacksmithing work for us. We'll refill our mana just to celebrate that, and I will see you guys in our next video. Have a good day out there.